Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Knicks Daily here. Today we're going to be previewing the Knicks versus the Pacers second round matchup from a diehard Knicks fan's perspective. My overall thoughts are this, and if you guys disagree, feel free to let me know in the comments, but I don't view Indiana as I did Philadelphia. If the Knicks were to lose early in the playoffs, it was going to be to the Sixers, and they didn't. Of course, they won in 6 games. It really should have been 5 games, but man, Maxi's so damn good at playing basketball. But the reason why I don't view Indiana as I do Philadelphia is for a variety of reasons. For one, guys, they don't rebound the basketball well. The Sixers rebound the basketball incredibly well, and the Knicks dominated them on the boards. The Pacers are one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. Yeah, sure, they won in the first round over the Bucks, but I'm looking at Giannis, who didn't play. I'm looking at Chris Middleton, who played the final 4 games with a sprained ankle. Damian Lillard got injured and came back in Game 6, was nowhere even close to 100% and still dropped nearly 30 points. You look at the Pacers, they do have a lot of talent. There's a lot to like, but overall, they're not a good matchup for the Knicks. The Pacers, they make their living off of offense. They were second in offense in the regular season. They're incredibly fast. They're the fastest team in the NBA at scoring the basketball off of made baskets. So the Knicks, they have to get back on defense. They can't turn it over. And the Knicks, I mean, when did they not get back on defense? Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, Isaiah Hartenstein, who blocks a shot on the screen, right? Like, everybody is getting back. Tyrese Maxey was an absolute nightmare for the Knicks to defend, but there isn't a single team in the NBA that would have been able to defend Maxey any better. I mean, maybe the Timberwolves, but let's be real. Tyrese Maxey's a young superstar in the making. The dude is just unbelievable at playing basketball. Another thing for the Pacers, it's not just overall that they're a bad defensive team. Who the hell is guarding Jalen Brunson? We saw the Sixers do about as good of a job defensively as you can against Brunson, making him take difficult shots, and it didn't matter. I mean, Brunson was just dropping 40 after 40, double-digit assist games, the final 4 games of the series. He looked like a man possessed. You look at the Pacers, I'd imagine they're going to put TJ McConnell. Maybe they put... I don't even know. Like, that's the thing, is I genuinely couldn't tell you guys who the hell is guarding Jalen Brunson. They are going to full court press him. That's what Indiana was doing against the Bucks if you did follow that series. They're certainly going to throw double teams at him and try to get the ball out of his hands. But what we saw about the Knicks in the last round is that Brunson can get the ball out of his hands and guys can make plays. OG Anunoby was incredible. Played some of the best basketball of his career against the Sixers on both ends of the floor. Josh Hart turned into Steph Curry from 3-point range. I mean, Hart, he annoyed me because he missed a free throw in Game 5. And if he had made that free throw, I mean, the Knicks would have certainly been in a much better situation. They probably end up winning that game. I say probably because we'll never know. And then Hart, he gets mad at himself. He says that I've got to be better. I've got to make sure that next time I put my team in a position to win or succeed. And then what does he do in Game 6? He knocks down a 3 to give the Knicks a 3-point lead. One of the biggest shots that Hart has hit as a Knick, man. Maybe even the biggest. I might be missing one, but God, Hart's hit some big-time shots for us, but that was... imagine if he misses that, guys. I mean, we might be having a much different discussion. And then Dante DiVincenzo deserves a lot of credit for the way that he shot the 3-ball in that closeout game, of course, in Philadelphia. Miles McBride has a higher true shooting percentage than basically every single All-Star in the playoffs at this point. I get he's playing less minutes, which is fair, but McBride's been playing well. And then, of course, Mitchell Robinson looked great in Game 6. The question mark for the Knicks is, well, what do they get outside of that? Because look at the rotation. It's Brunson, Devo, Hart, OG, and Hartenstein. Off the bench is McBride, Mitchell Robinson, and that's it. Of course, Bojan Bogdanovic is out for the playoffs, I believe. Let me just completely make sure that's right so I'm not lying to you guys. Yeah, season-ending surgery on his left foot and left wrist. We know that he had that damage in his wrist that he might have to get surgery on, and well, since he's already out with the foot injury, he just got the wrist one. So no Bojan. He's a free agent as well. I don't know if he'll be back, but can the Knicks continue to run a 7-man rotation? I mean, maybe, but I'm not going to tell Coach Tibb what to do. I mean, the dude is a 2-time Coach of the Year coach. He's won 2 Coach of the Year awards. He knows what he's doing. But will Tibb go to Burks and Precious? Or at least one of them. Will he open up the rotation? Because remember in the second round last year, the Knicks, they had a short rotation. The Heat had a big rotation. The Heat ended up beating us. Much different teams, obviously, to this point on both sides. But it'll be interesting to see if Tibbs does end up opening up the rotation, expanding it, and getting more guys out there. But even if he doesn't, there's a lot to like, because if you compare their starting lineup, I mean, Philadelphia, they're going to have one guy on the floor that can't shoot the basketball in the starting lineup, right? I mean, I'm looking at Andrew Nembar, I believe is how you say it. I could be mispronouncing that. Apologize if I did. He cannot shoot. So the question is, how do... There is a Naismith, actually. I don't know the Pacers as much as I probably should. Hold on. Yeah, no, it's definitely him. Okay, yeah, it's Naismith can shoot. Dude was over 40%. Yeah, so Nembar, he shot the 3 ball in the regular season at... I actually saw in his last... Okay, let's look at his regular season. 35.7. I mean, I wouldn't say he can't shoot the 3 ball. I mean, 35.7% is actually about league average. I don't know how many attempts that is. I mean, postseason, he shot it at 45, but again, it doesn't tell you the volume. I do think that the Knicks are going to be interesting with their matchups. The only matchup that I can pretty much guarantee is going to be OG Anunoby on Pascal Siakam. I can't even really guarantee that, though, because maybe OG's on Halliburton, right? We don't really know. But I'd have to imagine that OG is going to be guarding Siakam. I mean, Siakam was given 35, 36 on the Bucks. The Bucks are not a good defensive team, especially without Giannis. So, I mean, I'm not too surprised about that. Halliburton, I feel like it's going to be a team sort of effort. We might see some Brunson on him, some Hart, some DiVincenzo. The question is, what do the Knicks do about Hartenstein? Do they put him on Miles Turner? Because Turner's not going to be sitting on the block. He's going to be on the three-point line. He's a guy who likes to space the floor. So maybe the Knicks end up putting Hartenstein on another player, but I don't think they're going to do that. I feel like Hartenstein's probably going to be out on the perimeter, which is going to leave the Knicks susceptible, open to the Pacers attacking the basket. But I'm not too worried about Indiana. I mean, yeah, they've got a good team. They've got T.J. McConnell, Obi Toppin. Both those guys were fantastic in Game 6. And then, of course, you've got Halliburton, who's one of the best players in the NBA. Miles Turner's been killing it. Siakam's been killing it. But it's just, I don't think the Pacers have enough depth. Or not even depth. Like, the Pacers have depth. I don't know if they just have enough talent. Like, yeah, it's good, but is it as good as the Knicks? Like, Jalen Brunson's the best player in this series. And then you've got OG Anunoby, who's going to be the X factor. If OG is able to elevate his game, the Knicks are going to take care of the series pretty quickly. But Hart and Devo have been playing as well as anyone. You look at Josh Hart and what he did in the first round against the Sixers. He shot 43% from 3. He grabbed over 12 rebounds a game, which is just absurd at 6'4", 17 and 4.5 assists. Hart was incredible. Not to mention the dude played 46.3 minutes per game. Dante DiVincenzo had a couple of duds in the playoffs, but overall he shot the 3 ball at 36%. 91 from the free throw line, 36% from the field. Certainly is not going to get it done. Devo's going to have to be better than that. But, I mean, I don't see a reason why he's not going to get back on track. In the last game, the most important game, the closeout game, the guy had 7 assists, 23 points, was 55.6% from 3, made all of his free throws, played 48 minutes, and shot 44% from the field. So I'm not worried about Devo in the slightest. I mean, if anything, he should be getting more shots because he's the type of guy that needs to get volume. He needs to get into rhythm. And then OG, look at what he did against the Sixers in the playoffs. We know OG always, his impact goes beyond the box score, but statistically speaking, he gave you 15 a night. He gave you over a block. He gave you a steal. Didn't get into foul trouble. 7 boards, half of an assist, and he shot over 51% from the field. OG was terrific. He did as good as you could have on Joel Embiid, which was impressive. Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson is going to be interesting because Philadelphia is a team that is big. They've got a lot of size. The Pacers just simply are not that. So I do expect the big men from the Knicks to do a lot better. It makes sense. They're not going up against Joel Embiid, and that's going to be huge. You go from Embiid, the best center in the NBA outside of Jokic. You got to be careful. I mean, Embiid, when he's healthy, you could argue is the best, but I mean, I'm not going to say he's better than Jokic, obviously, but you know, Embiid is really one of the best big men the game has ever seen, and he certainly looked like it against the Knicks at times. I mean, he did have his duds, just like anyone else, but I'm just looking at Jalen Brunson, and basically, if I were to make this video in, let's say, a minute, if I was making a short, I would say that the reason why the Knicks are going to win this series is because they have home court advantage, and they have the best player on the court in Jalen Brunson. I just don't see a world where Brunson lets the Knicks lose this series. And I get it's a team game. I get that, like I've been saying the whole video, it's been a team effort. And the reason why the Knicks beat the Sixers is because guys stepped up. But Jalen Brunson and what he did in those final 4 games was just ludicrous. 41 in Game 6. Game 5, 40. Game 4, 47. Game 3, 39. And he did it on efficiency. 48 from the field. 47, 53, 48. Yeah, the first 2 games, Brunson was inefficient. But that's because he was missing his looks that he normally makes. And Brunson made the looks that he normally makes in the final 4 games. And there's just a lot to like about Brunson and his leadership and his ability to understand that, hey, look, they're going to double me. Let me get to the sideline so that I can get Josh Hart in a situation to succeed. If Brunson gets the ball out of his hands, Knicks players are capable of scoring. Josh Hart, Devo, OG, Miles McBride, like these guys can make shots. They can make big-time plays. But what it comes down to is going to be the greatness of Jalen Brunson. He has to go out there and he has to give the Knicks 35 a night on efficiency. It's going to happen. Julius Randle is not playing in this series. He's out for the season. We haven't seen Julius Randle in a long time. Feels like an eternity. No more Bogdanovic, who's a guy that is one of the better shooters in the league, which means that the Knicks rotation shortened. If Bojan and Randle were playing, the Knicks would have a 9-man rotation. A very, very good. I would even say the best 9-man rotation in the entire NBA, but they don't. Which means that Brunson has to be better, which he's done the entire season. And Brunson should win the MVP. He won't, but he should, because he is the most valuable player in the NBA. Brunson is more valuable to the Knicks than anyone is to their team. Anthony Edwards, Nikola Jokic, who else is alive right now? The Jason Tate. Like it doesn't even matter, bro. Like